before I start with the session, there is a little information I want to break it to you guys. Akansha is holding a paper over there, like there are bits of paper over there. So that will be passed on to you guys. So that is about HEAL. Help everyone access love. So what you have to do with that is exactly write whatever you feel about today, the past week, your month which passed, which is January, and you know what, whatever you want to write, whatever your heart feels, write it down over there. If you feel uncomfortable, write it, scribble it down, cancel it down. We don't want to read it. If you have, just write your emotions down in it. And if you feel that you don't want to give it or break it to other people, you can strike it off. Am I clear? Okay? Okay, good to go. So, starting with our session, we have Mr. Sam Koshi, is a talented development professional with over 13 years of talent consulting experience working with startups and industry giants. Over the years, Mr. Sam has served clients like Bank Muscat, Ford India, Tata Consultancy Services, First Flight Careers, and many others in workshops. He has also served as a co-faculty delivering the Phillips ROI methodology with over 30 organizations across India. Mr. Sam brings expertise in design, development, and facilitation of skill development programs and serves as a director of the Movement India, a non-profit based out of Mumbai. Mr. Sam is passionate about talent and contribution. At the Movement India, they create opportunities for everyone to serve in areas of education, mental health, and anti-human trafficking. And now, without further ado, I would like Mr. Sam Koshi to take over the stage. Thank you. Bye.
Hey everyone, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you all. Can you all hear me well?
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Team VESCOP, for having us here. It's a privilege and a joy for us to join you this morning. And if you're still doing that exercise, I think I want to give you a few seconds. Just go ahead. And as a team, we are here to interact with you, get to know you a little bit. I think I like the other mic better. Can I use your other mic? Yeah. Check. Oh yeah, sounds better, right? Yeah, I was sounding like, out of a pipe earlier. Right. So good to meet all of you. Thank you so much for being part of this program today. And we are so excited to join you. Joining me this morning are three more members of our team. We have Preeti here. Preeti, this is Preeti Chatterjee. Preeti leads partnerships. Some of you may have met her before. Hossaina, this is Hossaina. Hossaina works along with Preeti. We also have Smriti, who is right behind. And Smriti is part of the media and comms team. So we've come as a group because we enjoy meeting all of you, and I want to make sure that we have a great time together. All right. So I just want a quick check. How much time do I have? Because we started right now. Can you just tell me what is my 45 minutes from now? Great. Good. I thought we start with an interesting story. Okay, can I start with a story? Okay, it's a story that requires your help. Okay, in this story there are two important words. Okay, one word is the word sing. Sing, like SING. All of you are looking stuck. Is everybody okay? Yeah? So this story needs your help. It has one important word called sing. SING. It also has another important word called song. What's the word?
Song.
How is song spelled?
SONG.
Alright, super. Okay. Now comes the part where I need your help. Anytime you hear the word sing, you have to stand up. How's that? Okay? Anytime you hear the word sing. Can we try that? Sing. Great. Okay, you got it? Simple, right? And guess what? Anytime you hear the word song, what are you going to do? Simple, right? Go ahead. Song. Okay, let's try that again. Sing. Song. Super. Sing. Super. Song. Great. Okay, now listen very carefully. Okay, I have a story for you. Once there was a man who loved to sing. He could sing any song. Sing any song. One day Mr. Kushwant Singh came to see him and asked him, "Can you sing me a song?" He replied, "Mr. Singh, you want me to sing a song? Me? Which song, Mr. Singh?" Arey, sing any song. Alright. And he sang and sang and sang until there were no more songs to sing. Thank you so much. Have a seat. Thank you so much. Alright, I think I'm slowly getting your attention now, so welcome again and welcome to the Hangout. I'm going to do a quick introduction to us. We are a small team, passionate team of young folks just trying to impact the world. Many of us have interesting stories. We have come from different backgrounds. I'm from an H.E.A.L background, Preeti is from an airline background. We have people from different backgrounds who have come together because we believe India has so much potential. And it means that we can do so much to give back to the country, to the society. And what we've been doing in the last few years, we've been creating a social impact team. Can I have the lights down a little bit on this one? Yes, yeah. And what is this team doing? This team is connecting two parts of India. One is the part where there is a need abundance. That is, if you look at a city like Bombay, there are, huge slum communities. At the same time, Bombay is a place with so much of possibilities. People come into Bombay for opportunity. They come in to work in the best of companies. They come to explore Bollywood. They come to study and so many things. But at the same time, Mumbai has both these worlds coexisting. And we're just trying to see how can we bridge the gap between these two worlds. And a lot of times these two worlds don't meet, right? And much of our work is helping these two worlds meet. VESCOP, as all of you have been a part of this journey with us. Over the last few years, you've joined us in many of our initiatives, right? And that is how we've been able to bridge the gap. So, as I said, India is a land of possibilities, 1 billion possibilities. Every now and then there is a new article which talks about an Indian origin CEO who is leading the who's who of the world, right? India is right out there in the map. Having said that, India is also home to the most depressed. This is a scary statistic we came across a few years ago when we were studying, like what is the mental health scenario in India. One of the shocking stats we got to know at that time was every day, every hour, a student loses their life to suicide in India. And that was scary for us. And we said, if we know that, is there something we can do? And how can we be an answer to those problems? So we started going into colleges, we started going into companies, we started going into wherever young people gather, and we said, let's start doing programs, let's start doing something called the Hangout. Alright? So today you're part of that, where we just have open conversations about mental health. Right? So welcome again, and I want to quickly set the scenario up for you for what we're going to chat. So our big desire through this workshop is to enable conversations around mental health. Hence the hashtag India Let's Talk. Right? Because we believe there's so much more conversations we can have around mental health. Now, before I get started, I just want to check with you, how many of you relate, to what I was just saying, that about the need for mental health education in India? All of you relate? Yeah? How many of you realize that this is something, maybe I can ask it another way. How many of you have or know people in your own close circles who have gone through a specific difficulty and have failed to ask for help? So I want to start by asking that question, why do people do that? Why do people not seek help? Okay, you can just use the mic if you don't mind. Yeah, scared of judgment. Can you also tell us your name? Suprita. Suprita says, scared of judgment, okay?
Lack of trust.
Lack of trust. Oh, who will I go and tell to, and will they keep this a secret, or will they go and tell 5 people about it? Okay? What else? Why don't people trust or go and get help for mental health? Yes?
They don't know who to seek help from.
Interesting. They don't know who to seek help from. And this is such a big aspect. Because if you had a fall, and if you bruised your arm, or if you injured your body, we have seen so many scenarios where, hey, that's normal. Come on, let's apply first aid. Let's take them to this place, show them to a doctor. But if you're bleeding inside, if you're hurting inside, no one knows, possibly, and no one knows who to get help from. Or who can I go to? Or is there someone I speak to? A lot of times there's a big misconception between a psychologist and a psychiatrist, right? Oh, these words sound, And then there's another aspect, if you come back with this is an actual story that happened to us, we had a inpatient card from a mental health department of a hospital. And we had some guests visiting who accidentally saw the mental health card, the inpatient document on our dining table, looked at it and said, oh, mental app? And you have to deal with the fact that people even now don't know that this is something that can happen to anyone. This is something that requires help. So a big part of today's conversation is to normalize that. Like, why should it be something so, so big or so difficult to go and ask for help? So let me ask that to you. What stops, when we said about trust issues, we said about. So my question to you now, the flip side of the question is, what can help change that? What can help change that mindset in our society today regarding mental health?
Basically, people are like we are made to believe that we don't have to seek help by our parents. Parents are like कि भाई ये सब normal है, तू
Right.
बाकी लोग जैसा ही है.
Right.
You have to break that ice. You have to break that stigma कि you are not okay. It's okay not to be okay, but not for a long time.
Right, right,
So you have to make people aware that they can ask for help.
right. Powerful, right? Good one, good one. Thank you very much. So I don't want to add anything to what you said. You said it so beautifully, you know, and I think what you just said, you know, it sums up everything. Because some part of our society wants us to look strong. You know, showing weakness or showing that you have a difficulty is seen as weakness. You know, like, oh, I can't. It's seen as, you know, you are not able to, you're not capable to handle it. You have to hold it, you know, hold it strong is the thing. But what we have seen as a result of it is people push it under the carpet and suffer for years until they have a breakdown. And then it becomes too difficult to recover or too difficult to seek help, and they don't know who to reach out to. So today's conversation is a lot about how we can change that scenario for us. How can you and I be involved in the healing process for India, healing process for us? And I think that's a, you know, a very well thought of line. Help everyone access love, right? And I think each of us in this room can be a part of this healing. So while we do that, guess what is happening to us? When you help somebody access help or get, you know, access love, what happens to you? Do you think anything can happen to you when you go and reach out to and help somebody?
We get a different kind of happiness from inner that yes, we have made a good step towards a betterment of the life of someone who
Right.
we don't even know.
Right, right. You want to use that mic so everybody can hear you. One more time. Yeah, yeah. Can you please give her the mic? Thank you.
It gives an inner happiness, like you know, word known as सुकून मिलता है
Right.
इसको help करके.
Right.
And we also have a thing कि हाँ हमने भी betterment किसी की जिंदगी हमारे वजह से अच्छी हो रही है तो क्यों ना करें. That.
Right, right. Super, super. And thank you so much for sharing. Yes, yes. And let me tell you, I was yesterday on a call with somebody who has been recommended by a doctor to go and volunteer because that would help them with their mental health. So, you know, people have started realizing that. People have started realizing that we all need help. So, in today's session, basically, I want to break a few things down. We'll talk a little bit about well-being, talk a little bit about self-love. How can you build self-awareness? And most importantly, how can you ask for help? Because that becomes one of the most difficult things. And also, how can you heal? How can you offer support to somebody else? Are you all good? Yeah? So I want to just start with just a few things. You know, today when we look at it, mental well-being is not just about what one, it's not just about, health per se of, suffering, mentally, but it's everything that, that you go through, your thoughts and feelings, and how you cope up with the ups and downs of life. When you go through life, there are so many things, and it's just not, a straight line. There's so many ups and downs. But how you cope there makes the biggest, indicator of your well-being. And a lot of times we are caught in this, going back to, what my friend said behind, like this aspect of, you are supposed to be a lot of things, but you're not supposed to be weak. You're supposed to be a lot of things, but you can't be weak. You have to always show that you're strong. And we end up, forgetting that we are a human being, and we associate ourselves with everything else we do. So, if somebody asks you, who are you? What will you tell them? What's the typical answer? what do you do, right? If somebody asks me, hey, normal question, it's everybody's nature to talk about, hey, what do they do, not who they are. I don't go around telling people I'm a kind person, I'm an empathetic person, I have so much love inside me. No. We are trained to talk about our profession. We are trained to talk about some company we work in, or some background we have, or how many degrees we have. I am so and so from PhD, this, that, right? We've moved from being to doing. Somehow activity has taken over our identity. Which is also the reason why, if you think that if we don't do something, it is seen as a problem in our society. And what are you doing? Nothing. Nothing? Doing nothing is a big problem, right? Is seen as a big problem. But a lot of times, doing nothing can be the most healing for many of us. Because all our lives we have been doing and not being. Is it making sense? Think about what I'm just saying, okay? Okay, it's very powerful. Because if you think about it, all the while you were growing up, you're always thinking of that next time. Like I have a 4-year-old, she's always saying, hey, when I'm 8 years old, will you allow me to go, cycle by myself? A 4-year-old is already starting to think of what she will be when she is 8 years old, about the freedom she can have at 8 years old. Who has contributed? Somewhere or the other, whatever we have said and done has contributed to the feeling that she needs that at 8 years. She's only asking me at 15 years, hey, can you teach me to start driving? I said, it's not 15, it's 18. But look at how children at 4 years, 5 years are already in that doing. If I can do this, I am something. Somewhere we have to learn to break our identity from the doing and just be. So that's where I want to go next to. I want to actually spend some time. I know all of you are between exams or getting ready for exams. Where is it? Getting ready for exams. And I think one of the most powerful things we can do right now is to ask ourselves how we can exercise self-love. Because when you're always doing, you're not looking at yourself, right? You're actually doing for somebody else. Maybe daddy or mommy said something, or maybe that sister who has been an overachiever all her life, and everybody is saying, honey, you are that person's sister, right? How can you come at 60%? No? Are you able to relate with these things? Thankfully, my sisters were, 5 years apart, so I was never compared to my sister as much. But my cousin sister studied in the same class as me, and she was brilliant. My God, I would get 60, she would get 89, and always, my parents would find a reason to have a conversation with me about her. One day, so much so, my father looked at my marks, it was not very pleasing, so he called me and said, why don't you go to her and learn how to learn? I wanted to tell him, Papa, I'm in 12th standard now. Might be a little too late to go learn how to learn. But think about it, right? Actual story, I think I went with my economics paper, I had 40, I had 38, then I had 26, then I had 12, and then suddenly I got a 44 in the prelims. And my economics professor was shocked. He said, you got 44? I was expecting him to be glad I passed. He said, no, do one more prelim. So they made me do one more to authenticate that I passed because of knowing the subject. So the next time I passed, I got to get some 50 something. But then by then, between my professor and my father, all their motivation to me, I actually ended up becoming a rank holder for economics. It just, the frustration just, But for me now today I can talk about that story. But what I'm not able to talk about, I don't talk about as much, is the journey there, right? Which is filled with cousin-sister comparison, brother comparison. So somewhere we have to ask ourselves, are we getting too caught up in the doing and missing the being? So I want to, if today we look at yourself, just a quick glance, all of you are so unique. God has made each of you so unique. And even if you don't do anything, each of these things set you apart. Your personality, your attitude, your experiences, your habits, your taste, your goals, your hobbies, your passion, these all set you apart from worldly doing, or your degrees or whatever. And I think it is most important that we find ways to learn to love ourselves. So I want to give you, maybe only 120 seconds. Let's take 30 seconds. Okay, let's take 30 seconds. I want to give each of you this opportunity to think for 30 seconds. And we will pass the mic around. My only question is, how do you or how can you express self-love? Or in other words, how can you prioritize the being over the doing? Is it making sense? Can somebody can somebody tell me what self-love is? What is self-love?
It gives you inner happiness. It gives you inner happiness.
Gives you inner happiness. Basically, you're prioritizing you. You're prioritizing yourself. Right? I'll probably do one example. Okay? You sleep without regret. Okay, chew on that. You sleep on some days without an alarm clock. Make sense? Now let's take 30 seconds and now I want to give it to all of you to just think for yourself. It doesn't have to be this, it can be anything under the sun. But let's just hear what this room thinks about self-love. All okay? Are you ready to sing? Alright, let's give you guys 30 seconds. So whenever you're ready, what we can do is you can just pass the mic around. And if you just raise your hand, just want to hear your idea of what would you do to prioritize yourself. Okay? So how would you exercise self-love? What is something that you feel you can do to make sure that you are prioritizing yourself? I'm sure some of you already have thoughts. Yeah. So don't overthink it. Just share it. Okay. Just don't overthink it. Don't make it like perfect thought. Just share it as it comes.
I will start.
Please.
So basically, I would like to take a day out for myself and just enjoy, go somewhere out, like have a self date, and just stop thinking about what's happening around, if it will be done or not, if it is going to be submitted before the deadline or not, if I will be able to do something that I have been assigned to. So that is what I want to do just for a day.
Awesome. Celebrate yourself for one day. Just go full crazy. So good. Awesome. Thank you. What's the name?
I can continue.
Yeah, go.
So I'm gonna eat without regrets, without knowing about nutritional values, without thinking about hygiene. Whatever I want to eat my heart out. So who would like to continue next?
See, now when these words are being spoken, no, I want you to switch off your judgmental brain. When we hear this, like, okay. I don't want to say it's a very Indian thing. Maybe it is, I don't know. Just switch it off. You don't have to have a comment for what somebody wants to do with their life, right? right? We don't have to have a comment. Your comments are no comment zone. Right? It's disabled. Comment is disabled, right? Go for it. Yeah.
For me, self-love is like, I think I like looking at a mirror and I think, like, I like to think that, okay, this is not so bad. Like, I like to take people out of the equation. It's just me. I can have a coffee, I can write well, I can just watch my favorite YouTube videos, I can, or I just keep YouTube movies and stuff, or distractions out of the whole picture. I'll just keep me in it. I'll just be in my room. I'll just be that normal introverted person, and I would like being there by myself.
More people, come on. We want more people to share. Yes.
ठीक है, पहले तो ये कि मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि एक दिन के लिए मैं 10 गायब हो जाऊँ और 10 गायब हो जाऊँ और जितने भी सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स है सब, मतलब मोबाइल और लैपटॉप सब दूर रख के कहीं किसी नेचुरल प्लेस पे जाके चिल।
Thank you. Okay, so you know why? Let me just tell the break first short. You know why I'm doing this? Or why I'm okay with us taking 5 minutes for this exercise? Because while you're doing this right now, you're allowing your mind to think for yourself without nobody telling you anything, without nobody saying you can only do these kind of activities. You know that canvas is removed. There's no lens like that. So if you want to take a few minutes to think what you want to do, we are happy to hear and listen to you all. Okay? So floor is open. Anybody can share. Yeah.
I usually give myself a compliment when I wake up. Like, why should I wait for somebody else to come and say कि एकता आज अच्छी लग रही है? नहीं, मैं खुद बोल रही हूँ कि हाँ मैं अच्छी लग रही हूँ. आज मेरा दिन अच्छा था और कल भी जाएगा. I think कि we need to stop waiting for others to come to us and tell us कि you deserve this या फिर ये आपने अच्छे से किया. We need to start accepting कि हाँ I am good at this. क्यों ऐसे बोलना है कि नहीं यार तेरा तो better था? No, I did it good and I'm sure कि I'll improve later. So we need to start acknowledging that.
Thank you. Come on.
Sir, loving yourself and not get affected by others' negative comments and
Super. This is not easy to what people say this called loving yourself.
don't care what other people say. You are the best.
Go ahead, yes.
Like for me, the self-love is doing exercise daily. Like पूरा डे if आप frustrated हो, कुछ भी माइंड में चल रहा हो, बट घर पे जाके एक बार आप जिम में गए, वहाँ सिर्फ आप हो अपने डंबल से, आप डंबल्स उठा रहे हो, अपने मसल्स के आवाज देख रहे हो, सब मतलब माइंड में वही चलता है, बाकी कुछ नहीं चलता. सो वो बहुत मतलब अच्छा लगता है. सो
Irrespective of the competitions that I have available here, or I guess I don't even have any competition because I know my grades are very bad. So yes, even though we help others, irrespective of everything, that is me. Like, I love helping people. I am an introvert, but yes, if someone even doesn't say me to help, I do it. How was it? Do you need my help? Like that.
So this is very good for what I'm hearing. This is very good. Okay, like, what I like about what you are sharing right now is that there is an aspect of how just listen to each other's conversation. The more we are listening into people, we are hearing the variety of how people are thinking about themselves. Right? I don't mind even if people don't ask me for help, I am willing to offer help. That's me. That's who I am. Whether you acknowledge me or not, I don't care. That's just who I am. See that that's a level of maturity where you're saying, I enjoy being in my own skin. I don't have to be or do something to fit in. Yeah. Great. Some more. Let's just give some more opportunities. Yeah.
Okay, it's just like I just want to have a week and just sleep. Just let me sleep, bro. Like I just want to sleep, sleep, and sleep. That's it.
Me too. I also want to do that. I'm waiting for a weekend I can just knock out. Yeah. Somebody else? Yeah.
I think I would like to sit in the window and just look at the moon and the stars and just enjoy the moment, and just like I think Ayushi, you said that forget about the deadlines and forget that right now I'm not working so my time is getting wasted. So I don't want to think about it. I just want to be and enjoy.
Beautiful. One more person, anybody else? Yes.
So for me, self-love is, I just like observing silence. At the time there is clutter in my mind, so I just want to sit silently and let whatever is coming out, I want to observe whatever is going on in my mind at that moment. And I would like to explore myself more, because there are many things which we do not even know about ourselves. So I simply don't want to judge any thought that randomly comes to my mind. Let's wait for some time and know what it actually is, and what your intentions are not wrong. So that is what I like.
So as a follow-up to this, as a follow-up to what we just did, if I can ask you to do something, okay, when I say ask you is, if you can think of like how we just thought about what we will do, all you now have to do is think about a date and a time. Right? You already started thinking of the activity or the perfect moment. Now, how do you make this an action? Is you think about a date and time. For me, sleep, weekend, tomorrow, or day after. Okay, so you find out, I want you to start thinking. So if you have your phone, do you have your phone with you? Yes. Any of you use calendar? Take a phone, take a calendar, but don't push it more than a week, okay? Many of the things that you're talking about is not something which is impossible to do. Remember, the only person you're prioritizing is who? So you want to do more or become more, forget all that until you take care of you. Enjoy the being part. Okay, so I want to give you a 30 seconds. If you can pick up your phone, you have a calendar, just put a date and time to it. Okay, and if some of you don't yet have that idea, start with whatever comes to your mind. Don't work for the perfect idea. If it's just sleep is coming to your mind, go ahead and sleep. If just Netflix and chill is the thing, you find whatever it is. But when you start, trust me, the joy of actually just doing it is immense. Okay, so I'm going to just give you 30 seconds and then we'll move on. If you can look at your screen, it's a wonderful quote I came across. And it says, when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment it grows in, not the flower. A lot of times we spend too much time thinking, oh, I'm not perfect, I'm not this, I'm not that. But think about who you're surrounded with, the places you are in, who do you hang out with, what kind of influences you have at this point. And ask yourself, what is that environment that you want to create for yourself? Yeah? All good? Are we done with this previous activity? Yes. Feeling good? Yeah, I would love to hear what are the cool things you guys get doing. And just want to encourage you, stick to it. Be at it. Find some things which will excite you. For me, traveling is a very, very, what do you say, recharging thing for me. So whatever traveling, if I can do bus, train, God has blessed me with the ability to sleep. However, I can stand and sleep, sit and sleep. I don't need a bed to sleep. It's just that like I have a new pet in my house now, so because of that, my entire clock has shifted. For the last 1 year, so I'm not able to kind of get normal sleep. But when I travel, I will sit and sleep. I've got a lot of injuries on my head from hitting the bus. Those side handles and all that. So you find what works for you, and you make it happen. For some people, it's just cooking. Okay, for some people, it's just listening to music. For some people, it's just walking aimlessly. Walking without trying to walk to reach somewhere. Just walk. So you find what that is that will make you come alive. Alright? Great, thank you so much. Let's move on. So far so good. Are you all learning something? Yes. I didn't hear that. Are you guys learning something? Yes. Good. So I have a few more minutes, and what I want to do is I want to skip a few pieces, and can I get the other mic, please? Yeah. Check. I'm going to just look at one aspect. Okay, maybe you can skip this and go to this one. Yeah. One aspect I want to just focus along with you is how do you improve your strengths? Okay, a lot of times we are told that we are not good enough. We are told that you need to grow in this area. And one of the things that I have picked up, or even like I was listening to you, one of the things I could hear is many of you talking freely about who you are. Yeah. So I'm an introvert person as well. My energy comes from resting. My energy, I can do a lot of extrovert stuff, but that extrovert stuff comes from energizing quietly. I can be in a room all day and do nothing and not feel anything. I will not feel upset, I will not bang myself, I will not feel, zero regrets. Why? Because that's how I energize myself. I used to be in an 11 to 11 work environment once, 11 a.m., 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. And, Saturdays, I would just decide I will not see anyone. I have people who are close to me knew that you call him, he will not pick up, you ring the bell in his house, he will not answer the door. And I had a reputation like that. Why? Because that was me prioritizing myself. Right? And I think we have to all get that aspect, where you are comfortable being you. So I want to talk about three things which can really help you with that. One is understanding your strengths. So a lot of times, you have done this when you go for interviews, the SWOT test. Okay, that is one. But can I give you one more, if you can try? Okay, can you just write this down? This book called Strengths Finder. Okay, it's a book called Strengths Finder. It's based on a psychology of strengths. So it says that if you work or spend time in the area of your strengths, you're going to be most happy. Okay, it's based on the studies by a man called Clifton. Okay, I think James Clifton or something. Okay, and this book, Strengths Finder, is about 700 rupees on Amazon. The beauty of the book is when you buy the book, they also give you an assessment tool. Okay, which is just you type in online, you fill a code, and you do about 15 minutes of, it just asks you questions about who you are and all that. But at the end of the assessment, it tells you what your 5 strengths are. It will tell you this is the kind of person you are. And a lot of times, these strengths assessments, different assessments don't tell us who we really are. It just kind of gives you a type or a personality type, and then you learn to navigate. But this one is really good, done by lakhs of people. It costs about 700 bucks. If you don't want to pay and do, there's a free version. It's also called High Five Test. Okay, if you can just search high five test. It's also a test which is Strengths Finder. Just search Strengths Finder online free test. You will get that one. Guess what? The answers will be the same or similar. Like my top 3 in the Strengths Finder and in this free assessment is the same thing. So I would encourage all of you to do that. Find out what your core strengths are. Find out what makes you tick, and use that. Because while you are, while you're preparing for your exams, if you are a person who's got high empathy, you will be recharged spending time with people, listening to them. It will recharge you. If you are a person who is innovative, to somebody who gets, whose strongest area is coming up with wacky ideas, if you can spend your time in that skill or in that area, using that area, maybe it could be coming up with ways to remember, whatever you have to study, or it could be like sometimes mnemonics, or maybe make a song out of your, your study material. I don't know what it is, but if that is your strength, use that, and you will find yourself recharged. You will find yourself the most happy. And that's exactly why this matters. 2 is thinking errors. I will speak very briefly about it. Again, it is just some of those things that we have learned over time and how we've picked it up. Last but not the least is journaling. Okay, anybody who does journaling here today? Wow. Can you talk about it? What do you do? Anybody you want to share? What do you just share your practice?
So whatever happens in a day, I list down all the things, negative, positives, and I basically ignore negatives and I start looking at the positives. So it kind of regenerates me and prepares me for the next day. Maybe the day might be even difficult than what it was yesterday, but it still gives me the strength that I have passed yesterday, so today is also going to pass.
Awesome, thank you. So, one of the things you can get to buy, okay, if you can have a diary and you can use that, but if you really want a template, go to Amazon. There is something called as a gratitude journal, okay, where every day it just asks you a bunch of questions. It could be the same questions, it could be like, the variations of the questions, but what it does, it just helps you focus on what was amazing about the day. And sometimes it will be as simple as, I got an auto. Big deal sometimes, right? Talking about Mumbai city, there are so many other places where you don't see autos. Yeah? Or it could be just like, I saw a flower bloom, or this person smiled at me. It could be so small, but trust me, you write it at the end of a week, a month, maybe a year. You have so much to be grateful for. And trust me, when you go through those pages, it will make you smile. You'll remember those things. A lot of times our head is not filled with these things. But these things can actually change the way we feel about ourselves, right? Awesome. So let's go to the last part, and then I'm going to open it up for some questions. Okay, I just pick one. Okay, so these are just some of the things we as people have. You can search for this online as well. These are some of the most common thinking errors we as people have. Okay, so let's just pick up one. See, for example, zooming. Okay, zooming in on the negative and ignoring the positive. Okay, a lot of times when we look at our marks, you've studied, written 10 subjects, but the only subject you will remember is the subject which you did poorly in, and forget about every other subject that you possibly did much better, right? So that is a thinking error. That is ignoring something, okay? Ignoring all the good things and only looking at one negative aspect. All right? Assuming emotions are facts and must be acted on. A lot of times we feel different things about different people, different situations, but they may not be facts. They may just be our feeling. And by the time you sleep and wake up, that feeling will disappear. right? Yeah, so just wanted to kind of give you just some of those thoughts. We spoke about journaling. I want to just bring you to this part, okay, because which we spoke about is right in the beginning, which is being comfortable to ask for help. So I just want to check, do you have a counseling department here? Yes? Is there an in-house counselor?
Yes.
Great. So if you know where the place is, if some of you, I heard a mix of yes and no's. If you don't know where the place is, I would request you to find the place. And one practice is to at least know the contact number, email address, whatever. Where is that place? Why? Because if you know someone who needs help, or if you need help, you know your first place to go, right? And if you're uncomfortable going there, we want to give you a list of helplines. This is one, okay? Empower Minds is one of the helplines which the Maharashtra state engaged during COVID. Okay, while we had COVID, they are run by the Birlas. Okay, so they are doing really well. They have a huge network of counselors, and if you want help, if you need help, you can always reach out to that helpline, right? So please take a picture or note it down. You can even search it online, Empower Minds helpline, and this could be a great place to get help. Great. Oops, sorry, if you just needed that for a second, I'm so sorry. Great, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate the opportunity to get to know you a little bit and get to interact with you. I want to end with just one piece. Okay, this is my last, encouragement to you or next step. See, when we started the program, I set a context for you, saying, hey, we need to have many more such conversations. Today we had a short time together, but guess what? We can hang out a lot more together. This program is called the Hangout. What it does today, because we are a large group, we are doing like this format, but typically we also have a shorter format, which is just small groups, and we talk a lot more together. And there are some activities we do some fun stuff. I would encourage you to think if you can do something like that inside your college. You can lead those conversations inside your college. And that can be very powerful in creating a safe space for mental health in VESCOP. Is that good?
Yes.
So thank you so much and really appreciate your time. I want to open up for questions right now. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to take them. If I know the answer, I will tell you. If I don't, I will tell you as well. Yeah? Anything you want to ask? Okay, from a background point of view, I did a degree in psychology, by the way. I did not pursue psychology as a profession, but I'm grateful that today I get to do mental health as a part of meeting people and getting to know people as well. So if there is something I can talk about or help or share, happy to. Any questions that you have, something that you want to talk about? If it can be talked about in a public space.
detach ourselves from doing good for ourselves. Detach ourselves from the guilt of doing something good for ourselves.
Right. Why? Can you tell me a little more about why you would feel that way? If that's okay. Like detached, because on one side we were talking about focusing on ourselves. You were saying that it's good to take care of yourself.
Like, we constantly keep criticizing ourselves that
Right.
if we're doing something good for ourselves.
Right.
If I've had a good day and then at the end of the day I should be grateful, right? That I have done something for myself.
Right.
But at the same time there are negative thoughts that
Right.
do I deserve this?
Right. So that's great. I get your perspective. So I just want to put tell you it raw. This is the raw truth. In this world, there's only going to be one person who will be your biggest advocate throughout your life. Who is that person? Little more louder? Yeah. So you're going to get married at some point, maybe, or you're going to find a significant partner, whatever it is. We have parents, siblings, everything. But they are not going to follow you anywhere and everywhere, right? All of us, right? And somewhere that deep realization that I am my own advocate. In other words, that I have to be my own fangirl. I have to kind of, I have to cheer myself on. And for me, in that understanding is that I find strength in saying, okay, I don't have to go that route. Let me stay and enjoy this moment. And one more thing, just one more thing is also over time when you do this, you also find the beginning thought. There's a trigger thought which takes us downwards. A thought which says, I wish it was, or I wish I didn't. There'll be one beginning thought. But the more you focus on yourself, you'll be able to catch that first thought. Say, okay, let me not go there. And you will be able to refocus. You'll be able to come out of that. And sometimes, if we don't pay attention to that beginning thought, the second thought has come, the third thought has come, the fourth thought has come, and then we are kind of held in that bubble. A lot of times what can really help is stepping out of where we are. If we can walk, the little physical movement has helped a lot. But I would say, give it, don't suppress yourself from enjoying your life. You live it only once. So go for it, and enjoy it and be your best. Each of us, our best advocate, yeah? Thank you for asking. Can we give it a good hand? Thank you.
Sir, I have a question. Why do we always tend to focus on negative things over positive things?
Right. So, a lot of it is learned. A lot of it is learned because we watch people and learn. Like some of this, there are, maybe you've had siblings or you've had parents or elders who tell you, even when you're supposed to enjoy, they say, don't enjoy too much. This also happened. So you tend, to have a false sense of humility and to say, I don't want this much is good enough for me. So we try to look, even when somebody gives us a compliment, they would have complimented saying, you're wearing a beautiful dress, you're looking great. And then in your mind, you might add saying, yeah, but my shoes are not great. And they didn't even see that. They didn't even look at that. So
Are they saying sarcastically or those?
let's take them saying it honestly. I'm just saying, and let's look at ourselves, what is our self-talk. A lot of times when even people are telling nicely, we don't receive it. Why are we not able to receive is the answer to what you're saying, asking me. You're saying, why are we so negative? Somewhere we have learned not to take things wholesome, as is. And maybe we have to just ask ourselves, can we just receive it? A lot of times when somebody gives you a compliment, there's only one word to say. And receive it, just receive it. And that is also something culturally, I mean personally I feel it is something we all have to learn. Thank you for asking though. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah, a good part of healing is all about like letting go of things. So how do you let go of things? Like is it a voluntary process or is it an involuntary process? Or is it something in between?
Well, I don't know how to answer that accurately though. But yeah, what you said is so true. Part of what happens, part of healing is letting go. And for some of us, for many of us, it is not easy to let go. Letting go also means moving out or saying, drawing a line, you know, and I'm just trying to think of giving you an example. Okay, I can remember a relationship which I knew I had to get out of, okay? And I found it difficult for many months, even a year or something. But I remember a point where I said, you know, like, I'm not going to go back to this place, okay? And it actually meant that I would not pick up phone calls, I would not respond to texts, I would just move on. And part of it is, you know, a mix of us being that mature to say, you know what, enough is enough, I'm moving on. So I really don't know how to draw the line between saying, you know, is it unconscious as much as you choosing and growing to that place of letting go. A lot of times community helps, groups of people help. You know, it helps to talk your feelings, your thoughts to trusted people, right? And tell them, hey, this is what you're going through. And that, you know, they give, you know, they surround you with, in your lowest moments sometimes. And they help you transition or move on. So yeah, thanks for asking that. Yeah. Okay, 2 more questions, yeah.
So there is this feeling that am I enough? So it is something that keeps on ringing in my head. That will I be enough or am I enough however I am? So how to reassure ourselves that yeah, whatever you are doing is enough and you are enough.
Yeah. So conscious. I'm just trying to think from my point of view. We will all have that at some point. Okay. So I don't want to speak as though you and I will ever get out of that feeling. But because we know that the feeling exists, maybe we have to learn how to counter that feeling or deal with that feeling. And one big part is that self-love part. You know, like, were you the person who said you wake up in the mirror in the morning? Who was the person who said, you know, look at the mirror? Yes, was it? Yeah, I think I had 2 people who said, I wake up in the mirror, you know, look at myself and say, I'm good. You know. Initially, it starts off by saying, hey, I don't feel that good, but I'm good. But you reach a place where you're able to enjoy who you are, you know. And you know, thanks for asking that question. I feel it's going to be a journey for all of us because there are going to be moments where we feel lesser. I feel lesser at some places, some meetings, some people I go to meet. But sometimes it's also important to understand that a lot of times our identity also, we'll ask, where is our identity coming from? Is it because others are giving us our identity, or whether we believe that this is who we are? This is who I am, and this is what I know, this is what I don't know. One thing I've noticed, just to add one line, in my professional career experience, one of the things I've noticed is when I meet very senior professionals, like I used to work with large corporate, the beauty of their character was this. The beauty of their character was when they don't know something, they would just say, hey Sam, I don't know. And these would be the guys who have been in that field for 25 years, 30 years. And I would look back and say, well, these are the guys who can say, I've been there and done that. But they will actually just say, you know what, hey man, I don't know this. But I also realize that for you to say that you don't know, you have to be at that place of being comfortable in your own skin and vulnerable enough to say, hey, these are things I don't know. And all of us do that journey slowly. You know, I do that journey, you're in that journey. We'll feel that place at some point. And it's okay to say, I'm not okay. Or it's okay to say that, you know, like, I don't know these things. So at the same time, I want to say that, you know, enjoy yourself. You know, like find ways in which you can, you know, be around people who also treasure you. A lot of times, sometimes we are forced to be with people we don't like or people who don't enjoy our company. So find people who, you know, enjoy your company, who celebrate you. Yeah, that also helps. Thank you so much.
Okay, so like my question is, why do we often tend to neglect ourselves? You know, like my context is sometimes I do neglect myself, my happiness or my health for others. So why is that?
So, is it okay if I ask you that back? You know, simply because I don't know you that well and I may not know your context well. If you're asking it generically, there could be so many things. But when you ask me this question, what did you have in mind? What were some things what were leading you to say no to yourself?
Maybe you have to answer.
Right.
Maybe thinking about someone else's happiness
Or our happiness? Maybe. Okay. Anybody else?
Maybe thinking that if we, like, what we are not getting, we can give it to someone else.
Right.
Or I'm not okay with someone's opinion,
Right.
but I have to agree just thinking that if I disagree, that person will feel bad.
Right. So fitting in somehow, right?
Yeah.
Fitting in somehow. See, look at this. You know, what you just got is so many of our interpretation of what you just said. Why are we not able to love ourselves? And it also goes back to that question which you asked, you know, in the beginning. See, you and I are always going to be in such places. You and I are always going to be in such places where we are prone to ignore us. But somewhere the truth is only you and possibly God are the only people who truly love you. I don't see, and when I'm saying that you have to prioritize it somewhere, you're saying, you know, this is me enjoying me. And this actually, for some people, it happens at some point of time in your life. Maybe you just realize, hey, enough. And then you just say, hey, I'm sorry guys, I can't join you for this. Okay, and you don't give any further explanation. You don't have to give them one para. Okay, this is why I will not be joining you for this party. 1, 2, 3. You don't. And you're in a comfortable place where you don't need to give them an explanation. Why? Because you've just realized for yourself that company is not helping me. Today I want to prioritize my dinner at home. I've been waiting to cook this food. I've been waiting to chew and enjoy this food. I don't know, you know, whatever it is, but at some point you and I are going to say that this is going to be more important to me than that. And the moment we start saying that, I guess we have started loving ourselves a little more. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Lovely conversations, huh? I'm so happy we could do this, and I can also see like how you're thinking, you know, a lot of you are thinking and asking deep questions about what can you and I do. And please, when you do this, you know, I want you to go and ask these questions to more people. not getting stuck with the answer. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to repeat myself here. Please ask these questions to more people and don't get stuck with the answer. Why? Because you just saw what happened in this room. All of us have a new perspective to share. And you don't know what is going to stick with you. You don't know what's going to be beautiful for you to receive. So go ahead and receive. Yeah? Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And I hope everyone has cleared their doubts. If not, sir and the team is present. After the session, if you want to have one-on-one conversation, you are free to do that as well. Thank you. Moving on to the felicitation part, I would kindly invite Mr. Sam Koshi sir to come on the stage and Upasna Tabari, our PHO head, to felicitate Mr. Sam Koshi with a bouquet. I would kindly invite Mrs. Preeti Chatterjee ma'am to come forward, and Kishori Parak, our PHO associate head, to kindly felicitate the bouquet. Next up, Miss Husaina Barodawala ma'am to come forward on the stage, and I invite Ayushi to come and felicitate a bouquet. And lastly, not forgetting Miss Mruti Shinde, who was taking our beautiful photographs, to come on the stage, and I invite Anupama Nair, our IPA PHO coordinator, to felicitate ma'am with the bouquet. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session, and I hope if you want to have such more sessions forward, you can contact any of the PHO member, or rather you can also contact the Movement India to have a conversation with them. We will provide their contact details for the same. Thank you so much. You can proceed with your daily schedule. Also, one more thing to bring that to your notice. A tray will be passed in that there will be positive chocolates which is handmade by the PHO members. You can take one, and that is your positivity note which is being provided by the Public Health Office of VESCOP. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can try to open the positive note that which is being provided to you guys. And I hope that brings a smile on your face. Thank you so much. Okay, anyone wants to say क्या लिखा है आपके note में to everyone? You can take the mic from anyone and just say it. मैं से भी बोल सकते हो mic अच्छी है तो. सागरिका.
Nothing is impossible.
Things will work out.
Another mic, who has the second mic?
मामू टेंशन नहीं लेने का, अबू ने ना